White Smoke Rising: The Art of Choosing a Pope. Earlier this year, Pope Francis passed away at the age of 88. He was regarded by over 1 billion Catholics as their leader. He often spoke out on moral problems, such as war, justice, and human rights. In May, a new leader was chosen, Pope Leo XIV. But how is a pope elected? Popes are elected through a secret meeting called a conclave, usually in the Sistine Chapel in the Vatican. The voters are cardinals, leaders in the Catholic Church who are chosen by the Pope. The new Pope is always chosen from among the cardinals. They wear red robes, which show their readiness to serve the Catholic Church with faith. Only cardinals under 80 years old can vote, and electing a pope requires at least 2/3 of the votes. Each day, up to 4 rounds of voting can take place. After each round, smoke rises from the chapel's chimney. Black smoke means no decision has been made, while white smoke shows a new pope has been chosen.
Today's warm-up quiz is: every year, the club members blank a new leader to plan events and manage meetings. A. Invent. B. Elect. C. Heal. D. Decorate.
You have 15 seconds to think about it. Time's up.
Hello everyone, welcome to English for You. I'm Mike.
And I'm Laura.
And neither of us are the Pope.
Oh, no, we're
not the Pope. We're not in charge of the Roman Catholic Church. We don't live in the Vatican City in Rome. And I think a good thing is we don't have to wear the big hat.
Yeah.
He wears a big hat. It must really hurt his neck. But it is, of course, a big deal being the Pope. This is one of the most well-known world leaders. And every few years, it's, sometimes a few years, sometimes much longer, 10 or, some popes live a long time.
Wow.
But the Pope, it's kind of like a king, right?
Yeah.
It's someone who has this job, has this role, this power until they die. It's not like a president where they change every 4 or 5 years.
No.
So when it's time to pick a new Pope, because the old Pope died, which is sad, it's a very special thing. And it's also a very secret thing that has been going on for hundreds and hundreds of years. And I remember this year, of course, we got a new Pope. And in the newspapers and on television, like every day, they were telling us all about it. So let's find out all about White Smoke Rising, the art of choosing a Pope.
OK， 对，我们今天要探讨的就是教宗如何产生，认识教宗的选举制度。那因为不想要报太多，所以我们赶紧来看今天的课文。Let's dive right into it.
All right. So yeah, to go back in time a little bit, I'm sure you guys probably remember this. It was pretty big news for a few weeks. It says earlier this year, I think around the springtime, Pope Francis passed away at the age of 88. Yes, he did. Okay. He was quite an old man, and he was a much loved Pope, but he did pass away. We're going to talk about that in a second. But first, we should really explain to everyone, what is this person? What is this job? What is this thing? The Pope.
Pope 就是我们一直在提到的教宗，它是一个名词哦。那我们刚刚提到他过世了 ，OK？ 那过世的英文比较礼貌，当然不要用 die 就是死掉。那这是比较礼貌说法，就是 pass away. For example, her grandmother passed away peacefully in her sleep at the age of 92.
Oh, wow, that's a very old age.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, it's a nicer way of saying someone died. We can actually even leave off the away. Some people just say they passed.
Right.
They passed away. A nice way of saying they died. So yeah, unfortunately, of course, Pope Francis passed away earlier this year, and as it says, he was regarded by over 1 billion Catholics as their leader. And that gives you a little idea about why this is such big news. Catholics, this is a type of Christian. And yes, there are over a billion people in the Catholic or the Roman Catholic Church. And for them, the Pope is like the king or the president or the leader of their church. Well, apart from, Jesus and God
of course.
all those people up in heaven.
不过刚刚的句子我们先要来看一下哦，出现了我们今天的文法 Let's take a look. 好的，我们来看一下今天的 language in focus， 就是 regard or see or view or think of or look on, look upon， 然后再加 A as B。这个句型中以受词补语 be 来说明受词 A， 用来表示认为 A 是 B， 或者是将 A 视为 B 哦。那其中的受词补语可以是名词或者是形容词。我们来看一下例句。Many people think of failure as a chance to grow. 很多人认为失败是成长的机会哦。那除了主动语态外呢，这个句型也能改为被动语态哟。所以我们看回今天的课文提到的是 he， 指的就是 the Pope was regarded by over 1 billion Catholics as their leader。 课文这一句话是说，哇，这个教宗他被全球超过10亿名天主教徒视为精神领袖哦。我们再来看一个被动语态。Jenny is looked upon as a natural leader in group projects. 在小组报告中，大家都把 Jenny 视为天生的领导者。另外呢，同样能表达是什么为什么的句型还有 consider， 然后后面可以接一个受词 to be， 或者是可以省略 to be， 后面接形容词或是名词哦。For example, this street artist is considered to be one of the most creative in the city. 哇，这位街头艺术家被认为是在这个城市当中最有创意的人之一哦。Okay, first I want to explain Catholic. Okay, Catholic 这个名词就是天主教徒。那当然 Catholic Church 就是天主教。Hello?
Absolutely. If you go to Rome, you'll see the big churches. Those are all Catholic churches. The famous Notre Dame Cathedral in Paris, where they had that terrible fire a few years ago. That's also a big Catholic church. So, of course, this is a church that is all around the world. The Pope represents the more than 1 billion people who are Catholic, but also it's just a very important job. He's kind of a leader in a way that presidents or kings aren't. As the article says, he, because a Pope is always a man, he often spoke out on moral problems such as war, justice, and human rights. Now, the Pope has no army, he has no government really, but he has moral power, he has moral authority. And when we talk about moral, this adjective is about not quite like law, but it's more about what you know in your heart is the right thing to do and not the wrong thing to do. Always telling the truth, always helping people who are in trouble or who need your help or something. You don't have to. If you don't do it, maybe you won't get in trouble, but you will feel not quite right. You will feel like your mom or your dad or someone is like, oh, I'm disappointed. You took too many candies or something. This is a moral thing, okay? So it's really about your heart. It's not so much about the law. For example, we could say a truly moral person will always try to do the right thing, even if it is difficult.
Okay. We also saw the phrase speak out. Okay, 就是公开发表意见哦。For example, the student was brave enough to speak out against unfair school rules during the meeting. Now back to moral. Moral 是什么呢？它是一个形容词，就是道德的、伦理的。就是刚刚 Mike 有说，就是你内心可能知道这个是好像有点汤是不对的，或是对的事情哦。For example, the teacher used a short story to teach students an important moral lesson about honesty and kindness. 所以我们回到课文是说，教宗呢，他经常对战争正义以及这个人权等等的道德问题公开发声。
All right, so when a pope dies, they don't wait very long to pick a new pope. Maybe just a few weeks or a month goes by, and that's what happened earlier this year. It says in May, after Pope Francis had passed away, in May a new leader was chosen, Pope Leo XIV. He's from America, the first pope from America. But here's the big question and what we're going to learn about. But how is a pope elected? Did you vote for the pope?
No.
I didn't vote for the pope.
No.
Did we pick one online?
Was it an election?
Like we pick pop stars or, American Idol? No. So how do we pick a pope?
Don't know.
So how do they pick a pope? They elect a pope, as we just read. And that is actually how many world leaders in many countries are picked or chosen or given their jobs. They are elected. Now, when you elect someone, the people in the country who have the right, often they have to be over 18 or 20, depending on the country. On a special day, everyone goes to these places. They have a piece of paper with all the names of the people who want to be president or mayor or someone in the government, and then they make a mark next to the name of the person they want. They like, they choose. And that person who gets the most of those votes, they are elected. So it's a way of getting a job because most of the people in the country think you are the right person to do that job. We can elect presidents, we can elect mayors, and even in schools, you might elect someone from your class to be a class leader. It's a very fair and honest way of choosing leaders. For example, Digby was elected to be the mayor of the small town he grew up in.
刚刚 Mike 在非常精彩的解释我们单字的时候，大家有没有觉得，这个字有点眼熟耳熟？因为没错啦，刚刚我们 warm up quiz 还记得是什么吗？就是 every year the club members blank a new leader to plan events and manage meetings. 还记得选项有什么吗？ A. invent 就是发明的意思，应该不对吧？ B. elect 推选选举就是叮咚叮咚这里的正解。那 C 呢？我们也来看一下是 heal。康复痊愈其实也不是这一题的答案，当然 D decorate 装饰更不是啦。所以 elect 这个字当然就是推选选举哦，这是一个动词。For example, every 4 years, citizens elect a new leader to represent them in the government. 所以课文呢，整句是说今年5月教会选出新任的教宗，但是问题来了。教宗究竟是怎么选出来的呢？ So how do they elect the Pope?
It's a very interesting process. It says popes are elected through a secret meeting called a conclave. That's what they call the meeting where they elect the Pope, usually in the Sistine Chapel in the Vatican. So right in that big important church in the Vatican City, which of course is a tiny little country in the middle of Rome, Italy.
Ooh, so conclave 就是一个秘密会议哦，这是一个名词。所以位于这个梵蒂刚刚有提到的 Vatican 的 Sistine Chapel，OK， 就是西斯丁礼拜堂呢。那 Chapel 这个字呢，本身就有小礼拜堂的意思哦，所以整句是说教宗是透过一种秘密会议哦，就是教宗选举的秘密会议。刚刚有提到 conclave 产生的，通常呢是在梵蒂冈的 Sistine Chapel 举行的哦。
Now, who gets to vote? Well, of course, it's not a billion Catholic people. That would be impossible. In fact, it's a very special small group. It says the voters are cardinals, leaders in the Catholic Church who are chosen by the Pope. So below the Pope, there's a few hundred of these cardinals, and they're like the managers of the Catholic Church. So, of course, here, a voter is someone who votes. If someone is going to be elected, the voters, the people or the cardinals, they're the ones who mark those papers, make their choice. That's the person they want to elect. So if you have the right to vote, you are a voter. For example, voters believe it is time for a change, and that is why they elected the young leader.
Okay, so voter 这个字呢，我们来看一下。It's basically 投票者，这是一个名词哦。For example, the voters lined up early in the morning to cast their ballots before work. And cardinal 这个名词呢，其实就是红衣主教哦。那选举人呢，就是为这个 cardinals.
Yeah, I think Taiwan, I don't know if now they used to have a cardinal, one cardinal from Taiwan, I think from the city of Kaohsiung. That's where the the cardinal from Taiwan was from or worked. Anyway, back to our article. It says the new pope is always chosen from among the cardinals. So these people all vote for one of them to move up to this important position of pope. And you can always tell a cardinal, it says they wear red robes, which show their readiness to serve the Catholic Church with faith. I think the pope usually wears white, but the cardinals usually wear red. So we're talking there about the color of the robes that the cardinals wear. They wear red robes. The Pope wears a white one. A robe is basically just a long, loose type of clothing. Usually goes from the neck right down to your feet. You kind of put it on like a coat, but it's much longer. It's kind of like a coat, kind of like a dress. But people often wear robes for special reasons. A judge might wear a robe. Someone singing in a choir or working in a church might wear a robe. Or maybe if you get out of the shower and you're cold, you might have a robe. We sometimes call that a dressing gown or something. But it's a long, loose piece of clothing. It's very easy to put on, and usually it closes in the front like a coat or jacket. For example, the robes that judges wear in court are almost always black in color. And we also had the word faith. Faith is belief and trust in God. That's what this noun talks about. If you believe in God, you have faith. No matter what God it is, it can be Allah, Buddha, Jesus, whatever. But if you believe in something and trust in that thing, then you have faith. For example, Natalie's faith is strong. She truly believes that God will answer her prayers.
OK， 我们先来学一下 robe 这个名词哦，就是有这个袍服啊，或是罩袍，或是长袍啦。For example, he wore a giant purple robe to the costume party and claimed he was the king of Netflix and snacks. Well, he claimed so.
Interesting.
Weird. OK, now faith, we also saw that word. OK, 这是一个名词，就是对神的信仰。For example, many people find comfort in their faith during difficult times.
All right, back to the cardinals. Now, there is actually a little bit of a rule. I mentioned there's a few hundred cardinals, but not all of them can vote.
Oh.
It says only cardinals under 80 years old can vote. And electing a pope requires at least 2/3 of the votes.
Wow.
Okay, well, that's interesting and quite different. In a country, of course, anyone can vote if they're over the right age. If you're 100 years old, you can vote. And of course, I guess in the Catholic Church, they think if you're 80, well, you're quite old. Maybe you'll, pass away sooner. So maybe you're not allowed to vote for that reason. And also, in most countries, it has to be 50% plus one to win an election, to be elected. Whereas it's with the Catholic Church, it has to be 2/3, which is like 66%. So a little bit higher. They have to be really sure that this is the person they want.
That's right. Okay. Now we saw the word vote. Okay. Vote can be used both as a verb and a noun. 当作动词就是投票，当作名词则是选票。OK. 那刚刚我们有提到2/3 OK， 大家会想说这个是几分之几？它就是2/3。英文当中分数的念法要先念分子，再念分母哦。然后呢，分数需要用序数，像是 first, second, third 等等。那分子如果大于1的时候，分母的序数就要加上 s。所以刚刚我们看到2/3 2/3 要加 s。那刚刚就说只有年龄在80以下的 cardinals 就是红衣主教才有投票权。那选出这个教宗要获得至少2/3的票数。They have to be sure this is the pope they
Absolutely.
want.
And it doesn't always happen fast. Getting 2/3 of the cardinals to agree might not happen the first time they vote.
Right.
So each day up to 4 rounds of voting can take place. Maybe 2 before lunch. 2 after lunch.
Wow.
And if they have, 52% like one, nope, that's not enough. We have to keep voting.
We need 2/3 or more than 2/3.
Yes,
OK.
right.
这里我们提到的 round 是名词，就是一轮一回合。那 voting 这是名词哦，就是投票。Take place 这个片语就是举行，就举办、发生哦。For example, the school play will take place next Friday evening in the main auditorium. 所以每天，刚刚课文是说最多可以进行4轮投票。
There you go. And of course, billions of people around the world are interested in who's going to win. So after each round, so maybe 4 times a day, smoke rises from the chapel's chimney. They actually let people know, not through a tweet, not through an email, but through the color of the smoke that comes out of a chimney. And a chimney is basically something that you build above a fireplace to let the smoke go out of the room. Because if you don't have a chimney, the room will get very smoky and everyone will cough and feel sick. So the chimney will come out of the top of a building, out of the roof. That's where the smoke leaves. For example, it's so smoky in here. I think the chimney must be blocked by something. Maybe it is a bird's nest. This happens.
Okay. Yeah. Or Santa. Okay.
Oh no, we're smoking Santa.
不 Santa. Chimney 是什么呢？就是烟囱，它是一个名词。For example, the kids stared at the chimney, hoping to catch Santa mid-slide. But they all saw what was a squirrel with a cookie.
Oh, okay.
That's still cute.
It's still cute, and maybe the squirrel will share the cookie. And now the smoke actually has meaning. That's why there's 2 colors.
Okay.
Black smoke means no decision has been made. We didn't pick a pope. We will vote again. While white smoke shows a new pope has been chosen, and everyone cheers, and it's big news around the world.
这很有趣。刚刚我们有提到每轮投票之后呢 ，OK。教堂的烟囱会冒出烟雾，然后接着我们就最后提到黑烟表示尚未选出教宗，而白烟就是今天的主题啦，则代表新任教宗已经产生了，太有趣了。好啊，大家如果不想错过更多精彩的 English for You 内容，就快点点阅我们的 YouTube 频道和追踪 Facebook 哦。Okay, and here's our For You Check question.
Yes, we have a question for you. What leaders like the Pope can you think of from other religions? So not presidents, not, prime ministers, but religious leaders.
Well, some leaders from other religions are the Dalai Lama in Buddhism.
Very good choice.
Who's like the spiritual grandpa of kindness and peace.
Yeah.
Now, in Hinduism, you might have gurus that like...
True.
wise life coaches. Just like the Pope, they help people stay on the right path, but with different traditions and vibes.
But often a beautiful robe.
Yeah, robe.
No matter where they come from. Thanks for joining us, guys. We're going to have more good stuff soon.
Bye.
Vocabulary Review.
Moral. The children's book includes several moral stories that focus on the importance of respecting others. Elect. Donald Trump was elected to be the President of the U.S. in 2024. Voter. At the meeting, each voter can choose the new leader they like by filling out a form. Robe. The king was wearing expensive robes that were decorated with gold patterns and symbols of his royal family. Faith. After the terrible war, Tommy didn't think it was possible for God to exist, so he lost his faith. Chimney. Smoke came out of the chimney as the family kept warm by the fire inside.
智慧小补帖。
Pope. Conclave. Cardinal.
掌握最新时事主题，立即下载空中美语 App， 免费收听当期完整杂志。